OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Outcasted OC. On the road to WrestleMania, we're in the final turn heading into Philadelphia, and that is so good to say. Finally, it feels so long ago, the Royal Rumble, and we are finally at, oh my god, the go home show for NXT. Like, it's so weird that Stand and Delivers on Saturday. I cannot wait for that. But did NXT this week stand and deliver itself? We will just have to see. And we will find out in the very first match. We have got a triple threat number one contenders match. The winners will go on to face Baron Corbin and Bron Breakker for the NXT Tag Team Championships at Stand and Deliver. In this match, we have Axiom and Nathan Fraser. We have OC, or the OC, should I say, Gallows and Anderson, and we have the LWO, Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro. I will tell you everything that happened in this match, but it was absolute pure chaos, obviously, with the two high-flying teams of LWO, Axiom and Nathan Fraser, and then the hard-hitting style who always bring it, the OC, Gallows and Anderson. This match comes to a head where Gallows and Anderson actually hit the Magic Killer on, I believe, Cruz del Toro. They go for the win when they are super kicked, both of them, by Joaquin Wilde and Axiom, taking them out of the ring. Axiom then takes care of Joaquin Wilde for Nathan Fraser to hit the 450 onto the down Cruz del Toro for the 1-2-3. This was surprising for me. I didn't think Axiom and Cruz del Toro. Let's just combine both of those teams, shall we? Axiom and Nathan Fraser. We're gonna go to Stand and Deliver. I honestly thought it was gonna be the OC, but you know, you live and learn from your mistakes, I suppose. Yeah, I thought it was pretty much in the bag, seeing as though there was a lot of promo work from the OC and a lot of promo work from Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin. I thought this was going to be a one-on-one match at Stand and Deliver, but it turns out no. It looks like there's something a lot more interesting. Nathan Fraser gets on the microphone and said, since we started this tag team, we have never slowed down, and we are going to go to NXT Stand and Deliver and win those NXT Tag Team Championships. I'm looking forward to that match. It's going to be a really interesting match to watch. What do you guys think? Are you happy with the result in this match? Are you happy that it's going to be one hell of a tag team match? That it's going to be a very fast-paced tag team match, and I'm just looking forward to just seeing, let's be honest, Bron Breakker just absolutely tearing everyone to shreds. I believe that's probably what's going to happen. Do I think they're going to win retain the tag team titles? Maybe not. I'm gonna say maybe not, because obviously Bron Breakker is going up to the main roster. Baron Corbin, I don't know what Baron Corbin's going to do, but I don't think he's going to be staying on NXT for too much longer. I don't think there is any need for him to stay on NXT for too much longer. Speaking of someone who doesn't need to be on NXT for too much longer, in fact, it doesn't even need to be in WWE for too much longer, because, yeah, I don't know what he brings to the table. Lexis King is talking about he's surprised that Von Wagner wants another match with Lexis King tonight, because he can't even take care of himself, let alone take care of a match with Lexis King. Robert Stone has been taking care of you for a year, and he's not here right now, so he doesn't know what Von Wagner is going to bring to the table. Sorry about that, guys. I'm quite ill at the moment, so I'm holding it together for the NXT review. But that match takes on it happens later on tonight. Lexis King versus Von Wagner. We'll get to that in just a short amount of time. In terms of matches tonight, there are quite a lot of matches, but not a lot of them bring major implications for Stand and Deliver to the table. They're more wrapping what's going on NXT TV at the moment, basically, just before we head into a new year of NXT. We now go backstage to where Ilya Dragunov notices that he has had his car clamped. He's not going anywhere in that car. And then a Mafia car turns up and tells Ilya to get in because he doesn't want to keep the Don waiting. As we found out last week, he is heading to the Cynical, the Don's place of business, to have a meal before the NXT Stand and Deliver NXT Championship match. So we will see what happens there later on tonight. We will discuss how that meal goes. We now go to a match. We have JC Jane versus Fallon Henley. This match has come to a head basically because obviously JC Jane has been messing with Thea Hale for a couple of weeks. She is no longer in Chase U. She is no longer JC's friend, and she was using her the whole time just to get back to the top, which she says after this match. But before we get there, Fallon Henley's quite dominant in this match until she goes outside and tries to take care of everyone who is on the outside, because JC Jane has brought a few people with her. She's brought Jasmine Nix, she's brought Kiana James, and she's brought Izzy Dame to the ring with her. So there's quite a lot of women on the outside, obviously, because you've got Thea Hale on the outside there with Fallon Henley, and you've got Kalani Jordan. So, you know, the temperatures are rising on the outside. Booker T is very happy. I believe he says shucky ducky quite because of course he does. Vic Joseph says you're not allowed to say that again tonight because I'm keeping tally on the bingo card. Booker T and Vic Joseph pretty much take over this match. Like, there's not much to talk about in this match apart from the fact that Booker T and Vic Joseph are just arguing about the locker room, about how you should stay out of other people's business, and how JC Jane is or is not doing the right thing. Booker T just has some wild takes, like all you know, for the rest of the night, and it really starts in this match. But anyway, like I say, Fallon Henley goes to the outside to try and take care of the business that's going on the outside. She gets back into the ring only to get hit by JC Jane for the 1, 2, 3. JC Jane then goes backstage and tells Ava that, you know, it's good to be back on top, to be back in the spotlight where she belongs. She only used Thea Hale, she only used Chase U, and then those pathetic students in Chase University and the pathetic professor to get back to the top where she was. She saved Chase University with a calendar, and it was all to get back the spotlight. She walks away, and Thea Hale is not that far behind her, who then demands to get at JC Jane. Ava Raine makes the match for Stand and Deliver, but it's not a one-on-one match. It is a 6-woman tag team match. So it is going to be Thea Hale, Fallon Henley, and Kalani Jordan versus what I'm assuming JC Jane, Kiana James, and Izzy Dame, because Jasmine Nix seems to be injured. So that's going to be an interesting match. I wouldn't say I'm excited to see the 6, you know, person tag team match, but you know, it is what it is, I suppose. It's going to be interesting. Interesting. I'll give it that. I'll give it interesting, I suppose. We now go to the ring again, where we have Alexis King versus Von Wagner. There's not much to say about this match, to be honest with you, except for the fact that commentary are basically talking about that Von Wagner has found a family in Robert Stone, and, you know, he's really, like, that's his comfort blanket, as Booker T calls it, and he's fighting for his family at the moment. He's fighting for Robert Stone. He's fighting for the Bash brothers. Lexis King doesn't want to hear anything about his family, as Vic Joseph says, because obviously he doesn't like his father. He's come out and said that very clearly before he joined the NXT roster in those promos, and the fact that, you know, he changed his name from Brian Pillman Jr. to Lexis King, so he doesn't want anything to do with his own family legacy. We now go to, oh yeah, by the way, Lexis King wins this match with the coronation. I was pretty disappointed with that, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie. I want Von Wagner to have more of a, you know, more of a run in NXT, man. He's like my favorite part of NXT. Like, you've got Von Wagner there, you got Robert Stone, you got the Bash brothers. You gotta love it. What's there not to love about that? Like, I just push him, get him to the top. I want, like, make him have an NXT championship match, please. Like, you know, maybe I'm asking too much of Von Wagner at the moment, but him, him and Tony D'Angelo and Chase U are the best parts of NXT. Can you tell, like, what kind of wrestling that I like? Just stupid ridiculousness of wrestling. That's kind of wrestling that I like. We now stay backstage, where Ava Raine has made her way to Carmelo Hayes' office. I think it's his office, or it's like a locker room / office with all of his security there, and she lets him know that no one's in trouble, but at NXT Stand and Deliver, you know, the referee has been told to be a little bit more lenient, seeing as though there's, you know, personal stuff going on between Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. So obviously no one's going to get in trouble there. We also get a situation here where she also tells him at the end of the night, you know, when you have your face-to-face, there's going to be extra security on tap. And he says, my security is going to be ready. Hopefully yours will be ready for what I'm going to say to Trick Williams. And I'm going to say right now, that doesn't actually really go anywhere, because I mean, we'll talk about it later, I suppose. Like, he doesn't say anything like, you know, absolutely catastrophic to Trick Williams. We stay backstage where Natalia is training Carmen Petrovic for the match against Lola Vice. tonight. It's going to be taking place in a couple of minutes. Roxanne Perez, forever the charismatic vacuum of entertainment, walks up to Natalia and Carmen Petrovic and says, I would have listened to Natalia a couple of months ago. I would have said something to Natalia a couple of months ago, that you inspired me, that I'll basically do what you say because you know more than me. But now she doesn't need any of her heroes. And then she walks off. And unfortunately, that is not the end of Roxanne Perez, to be honest with you tonight. Like, I've said this every single week, and every single week it's the exact same. Roxanne Perez for me is just not there as a heel. Like, she's just not. Like, I don't believe anything she's saying. It sounds sarcastic. It sounds very forced what she says. Yeah, I don't know if that's what they're going for. I don't think that's what they're going for, but it is what it is, I suppose. Like, they've made a decision to turn her heel, and that's what they're sticking to. We stay backstage again, where Ariana Grace is waiting for Georgina, aka Gigi Dolan, to come, because she's got a load of dresses, she's got a load of pageant stuff to wear, because obviously this ongoing thing where she is trying to teach her how to be a proper woman. Ren Sinclair walks in and says, "Isn't pageantry all about being yourself and like sticking to who you are, being individual?" And Ariana Grace says, "Are you suggesting that I'm going to turn, Georgina into something worse than she is right now?" Ren says, "Yeah." Ariana Grace says, I don't usually say this, but those are fighting words, so I'll see you tonight." And like, Ren Sinclair's like, what's just happened? What's going on? You gotta love it. I love Ariana Grace. Like, she's probably one of the best people in the NXT women's division right now. I love her so much. Like, you can tell that she's Santina Morella's daughter. She's just got the charisma to like hold a promo, and she's really good in the ring. Like, for like the amount of experience that she's had in NXT. And we'll talk about the match a little bit later on. But she has a lot of it. She has a lot of like what's the word I'm looking for? She has a lot of upness. She's going to the top. Upness, that's a word. We now get Lola Vice versus Carmen Petrovic, the match that we was talking about before. Again, not much to say in this match. There's a couple of matches tonight where I'm going to say the exact same thing about it, like the Von Wagner and Lexis King match, but there's not much to say in this match. It's basically Carmen Petrovic. Obviously, she's under the tutelage of Natalia, and apparently she also had some advice from Kevin Owens, the Canadian connection, basically there. But unfortunately, it is not enough. Lola Vice hits Carmen with a spinning back fist, gets it in the sharpshooter right in front of Natalia, forcing her to tap out. And that's going to be interesting. We're going to be getting a rematch between Lola Vice and Natalia. I would quite like to see that. We now go to the Cynical, where Ilya Dragunov has arrived at the Cynical, and it looks like it's kind of a like a mini like chop shop / whatever Tony D'Angelo is doing there. Like, there's a lot of work going on, and there's just a table there where Tony D'Angelo and Rizzo have set it up for him. Ilya Dragunov sits down, and so does Tony D, and we leave it to later on tonight to find out what goes on, because the camera cuts. So what's going to be happening in this chop shop, which pretty much what it is, of Tony D's, we will find out later on tonight. We now get Supernova Sessions with all of the Metaphor, who are still bragging that they're going to be hosting NXT Stand and Deliver this year. They introduce first Roxanne Perez, who doesn't really say much and says she doesn't care, just get Lyra Valkyria out here. Lyra comes out, and Roxanne Perez basically turns around and says all the excuses that she said before. She's going to get back the title that she never lost. She is going to, basically take that championship from Lyra Valkyria, and then they will find out what kind of champion Lyra is. Lyra Valkyria gets on the microphone and says she is so sick of Roxanne Perez. She is so sick of all the excuses that Roxanne Perez makes over this past year. And she said, "Do you know why you're not the NXT Women's Champion? It's because Indy Hartwell climbed a ladder faster than you. You was not making excuses when you wasn't making excuses when Tiffany Stratton was the NXT Women's Champion, or when Becky Lynch was the NXT Women's Champion." She says it was a shock when it was a shock that you won the NXT Women's Championship. So it basically saying to Roxanne Perez, it was kind of a fluke. She says you blame everything on everyone else. You even blamed it when you lost to me. at the last pay-per-view. You blamed it on Lola Vice when she cast in the breakout tournament contract, but it's okay for you to do it. I mean, obviously, because Roxanne Perez won the Iron Survivor Challenge, that's how she beat Mandy Rose for the NXT Women's Championship way back when. It's okay for you to do it, but when anyone else does it, it's Crimea River basically. Roxanne Perez, like, just expanding on what I said before. She says, we'll find out what a champion you really are because you haven't had the loss. You haven't had the people turn on you yet. You haven't had to fight back up that ladder and capture that women's championship again. You haven't had the chance to do that yet. We then get a segment here where Roxanne Perez goes to slap Lyra Valkyria. She hits her, but then Lyra Valkyria just comes out of nowhere and just like absolutely takes down Roxanne Perez, picks her up, and just throws her through the glass table in the Supernova sessions. That looked painful, and I was very happy that she did it because again, Roxanne Perez just she just does not come across as a good heel. See, she kind of laughs and stuff after all of her promos during every sentence. She's got like a weird kind of smarmy look on her face. Like there's sometimes where that works for a heel, but for Roxanne Perez, for me, it just doesn't. I'm sorry, it does not work for me. I can't stress that enough. So we'll just move on, shall we? We now get a match. The NXT North American champion Oba Femi is taking on Joe Gacy. The reason for this is because obviously when he stole Sean Spears' chair last week, he threw it back down to Sean Spears off the top of that truck, and it nearly hit Oba Femi, kind of. It didn't really nearly hit Oba Femi. Oba Femi kind of walked like on camera, like, in shot, like way after it hit the floor. I'm not sure how it nearly hit Oba Femi, but anyway, Oba Femi has a problem about that, to be honest, and that's why this match is happening. As Joe Gacy's making his entrance, he gets hit in the back by Sean Spears. He gets hit in the back with the chair. So obviously puts him at a disadvantage for the match. Oba Femi throws him into the ring. The referee asks Joe Gacy, is he ready for this match? And he says, yes, this is what I came here for. And most of this match is all Oba Femi just taking down Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy does put up a good fight, but there is a point in this match where he goes for a running kick on the apron, does Joe Gacy, and Oba Femi just hits the gnarliest palm strike. Like he was kind of like, like one of those Keith Lee bear shots that he used to hit back in the day, but just with one hand, and it just makes the most horrible cracking noise. It literally echoes through the arena. It's one of the loudest shots I have heard in a long time, and obviously we see Gunther every week, so it's definitely one of those one of those shots that like leave an imprint on your memory. This match ends up getting stopped. No contest. I'm not sure why it's no contest because Oba Femi clearly was winning. But it is a no contest. Joe Gacy cannot continue the match, so the referee stops it. Poor Joe Gacy, but we'll get back to him later on. We now go backstage to where Tatum Paxley asks Lyra Valkyria, what was that? I know the real you, and that wasn't you. Lyra Valkyria says, yes, it was. I have to go to a different level to face Roxanne Perez. I have to, really turn up the heat, basically. I have to become more to deal with Roxanne Perez, and that's what I'm going to do. Tatum Paxley is a little bit concerned about Lyra Valkyria, but it's okay because hopefully Lyra Valkyria will retain the NXT Women's Championship at Stand and Deliver. We now go back to the ring where Ariana Grace is taking on Ren Sinclair, and the only thing I'll really say about this match is it's just a solid match between these two people. Obviously, like, these two are not like the most experienced people in the NXT locker room, but they really put on a solid match here. Like a lot of like, there's not many rest holds, but there's a lot of mat work. There's a lot of nice strikes. Just a nice little match. I thought it was really good. Ariana Grace wins this match with a roll up while her feet are on the ropes. Obviously cheating, but it's Ariana Grace. We'll forgive her because we love her. And Ren Sinclair looking great in this match as well. So well done to both of these people. That might be apart from the triple threat opener, that might be the match of the night. And that's not saying much really because, nothing really happened in NXT this week in terms of matches. But, fair play to them. They had a solid match, as I just said. What do we have next? Oh, we have the cynical segment, guys. We finally get to the cynical segment where Ilya Dragunov tells Tony D'Angelo that, you have implemented a lot of mind games to try get into my head, but NXT it is not going to work. Many a man have tried to get in my head. Many a man have told me the same, that they're going to be NXT champion, and it's not going to happen. Tony D'Angelo turns around and says, I'm just not any man. I'm the Don of NXT. I will take that championship. He says, I could have taken you out at any point in this match, in this night. I could have taken you out as you walked in. Look around you. Look at all these wolves looking at you. They all work for me. I could have ended you before you even stepped in here. And at NXT Stand and Deliver, I will take that championship. Ilya Dragunov basically says the exact same thing, but in a more, theatrical way, as Ilya Dragunov says. He says, you may be the Don, but I am Ilya Dragunov. Basically, I am the Tsar of NXT. Then, a little callback to last week, Tony D'Angelo grabs Ilya's hand, the injured hand of Ilya Dragunov, and basically says, I will end you at Stand and Deliver. You are lucky to be here. Enjoy your last supper. And he lets go of the hand, and it's clearly hurting Ilya Dragunov still. Will that be a factor in the match at NXT Stand and Deliver? I think so. Let me know what you think in the comments. Who you think is going to win that match, Tony D'Angelo or the Tsar of NXT? Let me know. But I think it's going to be Tony D'Angelo. I think it's about time that Ilya Dragunov came up to the main roster. What do you guys think? We now get a match between Sol Ruca and Blair Davenport. Obviously Booker T is talking about not making friends in the locker room, and that's exactly what Blair Davenport has been doing. She has injured a lot of people. Obviously, Nikita Lyons, Sol Ruca, Wendy Chu. Is Wendy Chu even still employed? I don't even know. Where is she gone? I don't know where Wendy Chu has gone. I always kind of liked Wendy Chu. Obviously, Blair Davenport is working the injured or the surgically repaired knee of Sol Ruca all the way through this match. There is a point in this match where Sol Ruca hits a one-legged splash, which is really impressive. But I will say this, for kind of like a blood feud match, there's a lot of wrestling. And when I say that, I mean, there isn't a lot of brawling on the outside, fighting. You'd think Sol Ruca would bring more of the fire to this kind of match, but she does end up rolling up Blair Davenport for the 1, 2, 3. And this is the second time that Blair Davenport has lost to someone who she recently put on the shelf. I believe Nikita Lyons also beat Blair Davenport. So I don't know what they're doing with Blair Davenport, but I wouldn't exactly call it, an upswing, to be honest with you. There is a weird segment here after this where Dijak is talking to Josh Briggs, and he says, did you see what happened to Joe Gacy? Josh Briggs says, yes, I saw what happened. That's not going to happen to me, though. I'm going to walk home with that NXT North American Championship. Dijak basically then goes, nah, that's going to be me. And then Obafemi walks up and says, none of you are walking away with the NXT North American Championship. I will remain. And then the camera stays on him for about 5 more seconds. And then that's it. What was the point? I don't know what the point of this whole thing was. I'm looking forward to that match. Don't get me wrong, at Stand and Deliver, but it was such an awkward segment. It felt like something was going to happen, and then it didn't. I don't understand what the point was. I thought that was really weird. Speaking of really weird, Ava Raine is talking to herself in the in her office, talking about she doesn't mean to toot her own horn, but the Stand and Deliver card looks damn good. Joe Gacy crawls into her office and crawls up a desk and says, I'm fine. Give me Sean Spears at Stand and Deliver. Ava Raine agrees and says, fine, you will face Sean Spears at NXT Stand and Deliver. And he goes, that's excellent. And then just starts laughing. But I thought that was funny. He just crawled into the office. That was great. Good job from Joe Gacy. We obviously now have the main event segment here between Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. Melo comes out and then Trick Williams comes out, and they basically talk about the past. Trick Williams is talking about, we are the first 2 black men to headline an NXT Stand and Deliver. Carmelo Hayes says, that just shows how far you've come, basically. And we were brothers. And Trick Williams says, I wish I was more excited for this match, but I'm not, because I'm having to face Carmelo Hayes. Trick Melo Gang was supposed to be forever. Carmelo Hayes brings up a good point here and says, imagine if, and this is why the friendship broke down, imagine if the championships that we had were our girls, right? And we both lost our girls. And then you said you were going to go back after the North American Championship, and I was backing you, and you didn't end up getting your girl back. But then you go after the NXT Championship knowing that I want my girl back. Is that what a brother really does? Is that what a brother really does? He then talks about how Trick Williams has been hot for 6 months. Well, Carmelo Hayes has been hot for 3 damn years. And, you know, you may be popular now. The crowd may love you now. But once the next hot guy is going to, you know, he's going to start coming up, they're going to switch on you like Nintendo. And you can quote that. Trick Williams turns around and says, now I see what this is all about. You're envious of me. You're just mad because these people love me now. You're just mad because I'm on the up. I'm the hottest guy in NXT. Carmelo Hayes says, I don't give a shit, basically, about what these people think. They're not going to be in the ring with you at Stand and Deliver. I am. And there's only one man coming out on top, and it is going to be Carmelo Hayes because Melo don't miss. And Trick Williams says, please, the only thing that's going to happen at NXT Stand and Deliver is me coming out on top, and the crowd is going to be chanting, whoop that trick. And I thought it was cool, the fact that the audience did not say Melo don't miss, but they got involved when they said whoop that trick. Trick Williams is so over. And by the way, then a brawl just ensues, and that there's just absolute chaos as NXT goes off the air. But what else did you expect from the amazing show we call NXT? This is going to be an amazing match. Like I said, I've been saying this for months that this is going to be the headliner for NXT Stand and Deliver, and it is. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's one of the matches that I'm looking forward to for WrestleMania weekend. Everyone's talking about WrestleMania, but people need to keep their eyes on NXT Stand and Deliver because you have a couple of matches on that card that could really steal the weekend. I'm telling you right now. Let me know in the comments, what match are you excited for NXT Stand and Deliver? It's going to be absolutely fantastic to watch. We've got a lot of content coming up for WrestleMania weekend for you guys on the Outcasted channel. But let's talk about some of these matches right now. We have got the NXT Tag Team Championship match where Bron Breakker and Baron Corbin are heading in to defend their championships. That's going to be a great match. We've got that six women's tag team match, which is going to be great. Thea Hale and Fallon Henley and Kalani Jordan taking on JC Jane, Kiana James, and Izzy Dame. That's going to be a decent match. We've got the Triple Threat North American Championship match. Obafemi defended against Dijak and Josh Briggs. Going to be a fantastic match. We have the NXT Women's Championship match. We've got Roxanne Perez going up against Lyra Valkyria, trying to get that championship back from her. And then also we have the Dawn of NXT taking on the NXT champion, the Tsar, Ilya Dragunov. And then in the main event, we have Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes. Let me know what match you're looking forward to there. Guys, stay tuned for Outcasted this week. Like I said, we've got a lot of stuff coming up for you. Check out yesterday's Courtney's review of Monday Night Raw, a really good episode of Monday Night Raw. Stay tuned for tomorrow because we've got an amazing podcast where it's WrestleMania weekend predictions, guys. We have got some special guests, but you'll just have to find out when the thumbnail comes out who we have got on the podcast this week. Obviously, then stay tuned for Friday Night SmackDown. Hopefully, we will get a review out for that, but it's going to be a busy weekend for Saturday because me and Ross are streaming NXT Stand and Deliver for you guys on the channel. We obviously then going to be live streaming at WrestleMania Night 1 on the Saturday, and then streaming at WrestleMania Night 2 on the Sunday. So make sure you stay tuned for all of that. If you want to keep up to date with the exact schedule of what's going on, guys, make sure you go follow us on Instagram. Make sure you go follow us on the TikTok at Outcasted OC, and make sure you go follow us on X/Twitter at Outcasted OC. But for now, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel, leave that thumbs up. Hope you have a great rest of your week. Have a great WrestleMania weekend. I will see you tomorrow, but I will also see you for NXT Stand and Deliver. Take care, guys.